Welcome back, Trailblazers Courtside here on Comcast Sportsnet on Rip City Radio, 620 in Portland and the Blazers Radio Network, and also streaming live on Trailblazers.com. Mike Barrett back with Mike Rice following a August hiatus. We're back here at the end of August, and now we're set to go. Taking next week off, but then for Labor Day, but then we're back every Monday night, and we'll have the preseason games right here on Comcast Sportsnet, and of course on the Blazers Radio Network with Wheels and Tone as well.
Notice,
yes,
I got a little taller since the first segment. They said
your chair goes up.
You're not taller than Barrett, and so they put my chair up a little bit.
We've always battled this because I'm all body, you're all legs.
All legs.
Your body's like this,
yeah,
and I have this long body, and I don't really have that long leg. So when we sit down, everybody said, "Man, you tower over Rice," but then it really isn't the case when we stand up.
That's right.
All right. With that being said, needlessly, let's go to Alex Kennedy, managing editor of Basketball Insiders. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're good. Are you getting set? Can you believe it's knocking on the door once again this season?
Yeah, it's coming real fast. It just feels like just yesterday we were talking about free agency signings and free agency was opening up or, covering the finals. So I'm excited. It's been a while without basketball. I think we're all starting to miss it. So, we've gotten a few little things here and there to get us excited about the season, but I'm definitely ready.
Yeah, I talked to you after your article, or I tweeted at you, and you tweeted back about your one-on-one with Damian Lillard. And I thought it was great because obviously Dame's an easy guy to interview in that he gives you a lot. But where do you stand on him as far as going into this season and now being, for the most part, handed the keys to the franchise when that really hasn't been the case in the past? And from my time with the Blazers, thinking of guys who've been in that situation, who've gotten the keys, I don't know if I could ever think of anybody who was perhaps more willing and maybe more ready to be able to be handed the keys to a franchise.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm really excited to see what he does this upcoming season. He's obviously been great since he entered the NBA, but when you have that, you're that focal point and you have that major role, you have more touches and all of that, it usually takes the player to that next level. And he's already been an all-star, so I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think he's going to put up monster numbers and just have a great season. I've actually known him since he was in college during his final season at Weber State, and he's just been so mature and poised ever since then even. And he obviously entered the NBA and was, ready from day one to be a star. And I think he's just going to keep getting better. He has an excellent work ethic. I feel like of all the guys in the NBA, there aren't many young guys who I'd rather have leading my franchise and being that focal point. I think he's definitely one of the better franchise players. If you're going to build around someone, there aren't many guys that would take over Damian. So I think they're definitely in good hands going forward, and they've done a very good job building around him, too, and putting pieces around him that can complement his game.
Now, we know that Lillard's going to be good. We all agree on that. But as a national guy, looking at what the Blazers have to replace, like 9 positions, 4 starters, 5 bench guys, what nationally is the talk about the Blazers and their chances to be in the top 8 or be in the top 10? How do you look at the Blazers now? We know Lillard's going to get his touches and scores, but how about the rest of the team?
Well, I think they're going to grow together, and I can't see this team making the playoffs this year, just to be honest. I think that they're going to take a step back, but that may be for the best in the long run. I think they made a smart move going young because they realized after LaMarcus Aldridge left that if they did bring back some of those veteran pieces, but not all of them, that they wouldn't be a contender. You'd basically be bringing back a few guys or adding some veterans that were quick fixes, but in the long run, they wouldn't have been as well off. I think that this is definitely the right move, adding, young guys like Ed Davis, Noah Vonleh, Al-Farouq Aminu, Mason Plumlee. I like these moves that they made because I think it's going to set them up for the future. I think that, had they just added a few veterans or brought a few guys back after Aldridge decided to go to San Antonio, they may have made, the 8th seed, but I don't think they're contending anytime soon. I think by doing this, they have one of the best young cores in the NBA alongside teams like Milwaukee, Utah, Orlando, and they can develop together so in a few years maybe they're a contender again. So while I think they're going to miss the playoffs this year, I think they're going to see, these young guys grow. A lot of these guys are going to get an opportunity they haven't had in the NBA yet, and I think in a few years we could talk about this team being very good.
Well, we'll be learning a lot more about these guys now. You mentioned one guy there quickly, Noah Vonleh, who didn't have much of a rookie season in Charlotte because of the early injury, the sports hernia. He had a great summer league, but again, it's tough to know what carries over from summer league. We've seen a lot of examples in the past of that. Your thoughts, though, on Noah, a guy that was projected in the draft, not this last summer, but the summer before, to be perhaps a top 4, top 5 guy, kind of dropped in that draft, but athletically, I mean, people have talked about the fact that he could be a power forward. Then all of a sudden we see him shooting threes at Summer League. This is a guy who's just now 20 years old. So your thoughts on the possible upside of a Noah Vonleh, who was so highly regarded coming out of college?
Yeah, he was so highly regarded. I think he's going to surprise people this year. He's very talented. I remember during the pre-draft process, he was knocking down threes in some of his workouts, and executives were really surprised. They were really impressed with his shooting ability because everyone knew he was a great athlete. Obviously, he had monster hands, and he has the physical tools. But I think people were surprised to see how skilled he was. Now, he is still pretty raw. He does need to bulk up a bit, and he's been doing that a little bit. We've seen him add some muscle, but I think he still has a ways to go. But look, he's a guy that in a few years, again, could be a difference maker. And there's a reason he was picked so high last year. I think had he been healthy and able to play all last season, we would have seen, more glimpses of brilliance from him, and he may not have been available this summer. So because he was injured, I think that's where Portland was able to swoop in and grab him. I'm really curious to see what he does. He's one of those guys who hasn't had a big role, hasn't had a lot of playing time. But as you said, he looked great in Summer League. Obviously, he had a lot of potential entering the NBA, and he's a guy that did very well during the pre-draft process. So I'm really excited to see what he can do in a bigger role. And I think that, again, he's just so young. I think 3-4 years from now, he could be a guy that really solidifies himself as a difference maker.
A lot of my Twitter people want to know who the Blazers' second leading scorer is going to be. They concede that Lillard is going to be the leading scorer. But Leonard, CJ, Aminu, who do you think, looking at the Blazer talent, might be the guy that'll be the second leading scorer for this Blazer team?
Well, the first guy that came to mind is C.J. McCollum. I do think that he could step up into that role. He obviously has the skill set to do it, and he'll take on a bigger role this year, I think. So I think it could be Leonard. It's possible. If he shows improvements and gets a lot of those touches in the post, it's possible. But when I look at some of the other guys like Aminu and Mo Harkless, for example, who I covered in Orlando, they're more, defensive guys. I could see them being contributors, but I think it's probably either McCollum or Leonard. And I lean towards CJ right now just because, I know his skill set, and I think that he has a better chance of getting those touches from day one. So probably McCollum. I think there's going to be a huge gap between Lillard and whoever is second, but I think, McCollum and Leonard apply 2 and 3 there.
Well, you can follow Alex at Alex Kennedy NBA. It's the Basketball Insiders, a great resource and a great follow on Twitter. Alex, we'll get you back on again soon. We appreciate the time.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
All right, Alex Kennedy from the Basketball Insiders. And once again, he had a nice piece on Damian earlier in the summer. And always nice to get a national perspective. When we come back, we're going to talk about tickets. Yes, we are. Tyler Howell is in the house. Single game tickets are on sale. So we talk about the season coming up. You always know it's getting closer and closer when we start talking about
Where's my wallet?
That's the first time it's been opened. Did you see the cobwebs? All right, we'll come back with more on Trailblazers Courtside right after this.